Hello everyone, and welcome to my Days of Our Lives official. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up.
Leo isn't sure why, but Javi is sick of Jada playing the bad guy and believes Rafe shouldn't be arrogant. Rafe is simply not the person I recall. Jada is so deserving of better. As they get ready for Javi to leave for work, they reassure Leo that he will find employment soon. Days Javi curls up with Leo in bed, eyes closed, as Leo lies on his back, grinning at the ceiling. After reading the piece and calling it utter drivel, he contacts Chad and requests permission to return to The Spectator. Belle attempts to catch EJ. Belle is already up and staring at EJ as he wakes up and rolls over. She has been preparing for a fall by listening to him discuss Jada while he sleeps. EJ is immediately aware that Belle is lying, but he remained silent. When he sleeps, he doesn't speak. Belle acknowledges it, but claims that it bears EJ's fingerprints and that someone set Jada up. All she's doing is attempting to understand what's happening. Days Belle looks slightly agitated as she speaks to EJ, while resting her head on her hand in his bed. The day following Valentine's Day, EJ makes fun of her for attempting to trap him, and, shockingly, they begin dating once more. In order to set up Jada, he then pretends to fall asleep and confesses in his dream. He remarks that all's fair in love and war when Belle slaps him. He wants to be sure it's not war, but she assures him it's not love. After that, he becomes reflective and declares that he has truly appreciated their time together. He also has feelings for her. This is true love, not just a passing fancy. After they share a kiss, Belle leaves for work because she feels moved. She gives him an envelope that Kristen left outside before leaving, and they exchange farewell kisses. Steve verifies Jada's health. Rafe arrives at Stephanie's to express regret to Jada. He still loves her even though he knows she is innocent, and that EJ put her up. Jada awakens on the couch as he asks her to return the ring while he is on one knee. Steve knocked on the door this time to see how she was doing. He promises Jada that he will show that EJ set her up. Dazed Jada, in her robe, curls up to Steve on Stephanie's couch and smiles while closing her eyes. However, he has been involved in Brady's investigation into Ava's disappearance. He gives Jada all the information. After suggesting that the department's technology could improve the quality of the voicemail, she proposes locating background noise when he claims to be on it. Steve thanks her and promises to get her back as commissioner as soon as possible. And in the process, defeat EJ. Jada tells him Sean and JJ are working on it. Steve needs to concentrate on his son's mother, Ava. However, she is extremely fortunate to have the Johnsons on her side. Jada is reassured by Steve that her family believes in her. He puts his arms around her after she gives him a hug and says, "Here's my other baby girl." Rafe gets to know his new prisoner. At Armid, the real Rafe awakens while gagged and bound to a chair. Rachel brings breakfast downstairs to a still-bound Ava, but she is distracted when Kristen calls, excited to speak to her mother. When Rachel asks how her granddaughter is doing, Kristen responds that while she won't be punished, she will have to come to terms with the fact that taking hostages won't make her troubles go away. After expressing regret for EJ's abandonment of Rafe, Kristen offers a long-term solution for both prisoners. Days in Armid, Ava, strapped to her wheelchair, glares at Rachel as she lifts a spoon to feed her. Brady enters the room as she finishes speaking. After telling him she was discussing DiMera business, Kristen ends the call and is dismissed. Brady was visited by Child Protective Services. "We have a serious issue." In addition to having a big file on Brady, Kristen, and Rachel and all of their criminal history, they questioned him about Rachel's escape. They believe she has experienced too much trauma. Brady arrived to inform Kristen that a CPS representative was on her way. Rachel, or any of them, cannot go wrong in any other way. Rachel will be gone after one more incident. Brady asks to know what Kristen is thinking after she loses her temper and seems distraught. She simply thanks him for the heads up after admitting that she was caught off guard. They are capable. However, he responds that he must meet with Steve over Ava's absence when she asks if he would like to stay to see Rachel. He leaves, leaving Kristen anxious about Rachel's involvement in Ava's abduction. Days while Rachel speaks to him, Rafe, who is strapped to a chair in the Blake house in Armid, looks at her blankly. As soon as Rachel removes Ava's gag at the Blake house, her captive begins to scream. Rafe hears her upstairs. Rachel immediately responds to Ava's accusations that her hostage is insane and criminal. Rachel brings the meal to Rafe after Ava declines to eat. Assuming she is a minion of EJ's, he inquires as to where he is and who she is. As though her family is the reason behind her actions, and no one else. For her grandchild and daughter, Ava has been saved. Javi and Jada collide in the square during the show's last scenes. She advises him to make certain Rafe returns Javi's mother's ring to him. Jada then tells Javi about Rafe's attempt to get her up to his room at the Salem Inn after Javi drags it out, and sobbing herself to sleep after that. There is a part of her that still loves and misses Rafe, therefore she can't let go. At that point, Javi informs her that his cousin cheated on her and had an affair with the dancer. Days as they converse at Horton Square, Javi stares at Jada in confusion. After giving Kristen the envelope Belle discovered, EJ wants to discuss Rafe and Ava's plans. It will be alright, she assures EJ. She has a strategy. She extracts a vial from the packet. Rafe is silenced by Rachel, who threatens to stop talking and won't respond to inquiries. I will do whatever it takes to keep the people I care about safe. Ava fights against her ropes downstairs. When he claims hearing another woman's voice, Rachel joyfully informs him that he is not the only prisoner after going over the ground rules for mealtime. As Steve receives the cleaned-up audio from Ava, he visits Brady at his house. Brady recognizes the address Ava left for Rachel right away. We have to get to Armid immediately. Brady unties an elated Ava as they dash to the Blake house. Well. It appears that the DeMoras will once more get away with their misbehavior on Days of Our Lives. Naturally, viewers haven't really questioned that. They always get away with a smack on the wrist at most. However, we were puzzled on how EJ and Kristen would escape their current predicament of kidnapping. But even though we were unaware of it, Thursday's program gave us the rundown. Granted, now that Brady and Steve have located and are rescuing Ava, Kristen's situation appears particularly dire. Now, Ava must defeat the Blakes, right? False. We can see where this is headed, as it is implied that child Rachel was responsible for Ava's abduction, with a good helping of pressure from her grandma, and that Child Protective Services is searching for one more offense to permanently remove the child from her parents. Brady will grudgingly plead with Ava to keep quiet or risk losing his daughter. To ensure that this doesn't happen again, he might even pledge to send Rachel away for some serious mental health treatment. Ultimately, Ava will comply with it despite her reluctance. However, that won't only absolve tiny Rachel, it will also absolve her mother and grandmother. However, since Ava would now have something to hold over Kristen's head indefinitely, that might work in her favor. John eventually overcame Sammy's attempt to sell Belle, and Roman overcame Lucas's hostage-taking of Sammy. We would suggest that Rachel's decision to kidnap and smack Ava over the head might be a major warning sign to flee Brady and his psychotic daughter. How about we make this work? Youngness is on Rachel's side, and she has hope that she can seek support and move over this Machiavellian stage. Still, Ava might continue to date Brady while using the kidnapping as leverage to make Kristen be more cooperative. EJ's ability to avoid consequences is perhaps a little less astute. Rafe doesn't appear to be keeping his mouth shut to defend, well, anybody. If we had to guess, we would suppose that EJ will simply use some of the common Rolf magic. The memory-erasing serum that the DeMoras occasionally use is probably the bottle that Kristen obtained. EJ can give Rafe that injection, erase his memories of the previous few months, and let him go. He would simply need to take care of Arnold, either by paying him back or actually killing him this time. Rafe could resume his life when he leaves, appalled at the alleged actions he did, but cannot recall. There wouldn't be any evidence, but perhaps the memory loss would lead others to believe that EJ was brainwashed to behave in that way. It might as well have been the aftereffects of his coma. Furthermore, they wouldn't have any reason to believe a double had been out and about because nobody else is aware that Arnold is still alive, if he is at all.